So on next is we have Tim Reading from Pacific Northwest National Laboratories, and is going to present to us how they are encouraging leaders at PNNL to have open and transparent conversations. So Tim, if you're there, take it away.
Yes, I'm here. Let me share my screen and get a thumbs up to see if you guys can see me.
Yep,
You see my slides?
I can see it and you're ready to go.
Awesome. Thank you very much. My name is Tim Reading. I work at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. We are one of 18 laboratories that do research for the Department of Energy. And we do stuff from sustainable energy, resilience for electronic grid, national security, and a lot of other stuff. A lot of stuff that's over my head. One of 18 laboratories. And I actually work in the communications department. I support our intranet, and I also support our Viva Engage platform. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our journey of how we got to where we are today and show you some measurable impact that we've been able to have using Viva Engage. I do want to give a quick shout out before I start. There's a gentleman on the call named Andy Jane. Andy led the rollout of Viva Engage for us a little over 2 years ago. So Andy, thank you very much. We're carrying the torch. Andy has moved on and is now working for Blue Origin, which is the space exploration company that Jeff Bezos founded. So let me start off by telling you a little bit about where we started from. Darnell mentioned when they rolled out AMER, they didn't have anything that they were building on. It was something brand new. We actually had something that we were replacing. We had something called the whiteboard. It was created by our IT group. You look at this and you could tell that if you're familiar with SharePoint, you could see it and go, that's SharePoint. So it was built on SharePoint, and we had it for about 15 years. We had some core people that really liked it. We had, categories just like you would imagine Yammer does or Viva Engage does. This is our community volunteer opportunities category. We had about 15 other categories. But as you look at this, you can easily see that there's no images, there's no place to react, there's no @mention. It was pretty bare bones. But we did have it for like 15 years, so it served us for a long time. We are a Microsoft shop. So we use Microsoft tools. So when we learned about Yammer, wanted to roll it out, made a good fit because we're already using a lot of M365 apps. So we went to roll it out. We had to kick it off with a campaign that everybody could relate to. You want to engage everybody. How do you engage the most people? So we chose to have a campaign about our history. So we've been around for 60 years. 10 years earlier, we had our 50th anniversary. And fortunately, we had a ton of digital assets that we saved, they had left over. So we're able to use that and kick it off with a month-long campaign where every day we posted something about something in our history. And sometimes it was something that was 50 years ago. Sometimes it was something that was 10 years ago. When we did this, we also would mention some people that still work here that say, hey, we know you were here when this happened. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? So quick, easy way to engage the entire workforce, easy way to get people to join the conversations. So it was a great idea easy way to kick it off. We also looked out because we had all these digital assets. We didn't have to go find these things. Now, I will say this, taking away the whiteboard and going to a Viva Engage, we had some people that were resistant because they liked the whiteboard. And I even had a call from some people that said, well, I don't like this because I don't do social media. My answer was, we already were doing social media on the whiteboard. You were just doing something that doesn't have the features that we have today. So there was a little bit of that from a smaller core group of people, but we did get adoption pretty quickly. And this was an easy campaign to get us started. So when we rolled it out, for those of you that haven't rolled it out yet, when you do, you're going to start with some pre-existing communities. And the ones I have here that I'm showing here, these are popular at any company: pets, sports fans, books lovers, foodies. These are things that are going to appeal to everybody. And a matter of fact, our pets community is our #1 community at our company. And that's probably true for a lot of other companies. But it was great to get people on board. And then once we had them, we got to know, hey, there's a lot more to this. This isn't just social media. It's not just helping people feel connected. You can also help us with your job, help you to find answers, help you to find solutions. So then we started rolling out some more tech communities, like our Mac users group. We're a Windows shop, if you will, a Windows company, but we have about 10% of our workforce uses Macs. So that was a group that they quickly adopted. AI is a big thing. Now we got a group for that. Cloud computing, whatever tech is for you, or whatever work that you're doing, find the right people to help form those communities. When you have a tool like Swoop, and this, I'm not here to plug Swoop, but I can't tell who my influencers are, so I can reach out to them when I need their help to launch a new community, for example. So we started off with the mass appeal, then went to more technical communities. Now, we don't allow anyone just to create a community. They actually have to go through our communications department to get approval. We're trying to find that right balance between what's too many and what's not enough. And I don't have a secret sauce for that. But one example I'll tell you that we did kind of push back is we had a sports fans community, and someone comes to me and says, I want one for baseball. It's like, oh, wow, someone's going to want one for every sport you can imagine. So we said, no, let's not do that. Let's instead use a topic. And so we educated them on what a topic is. You can add a topic to any conversation, but then you can follow that topic. And so that's what we did. We had to create topics. And then since you can follow a topic, when you go to follow it, your browser, the URL at the very top, that is a link to that topic. So then you can easily just pin those topics to the side of your communities. So people that are interested just in baseball, when they come to our sports fans community, they can just click on baseball and see that. But they're also still part of this bigger community. So by creating a baseball community, would have siloed those conversations. So it's a way that they still kind of feel like they have their community, but they're still part of something bigger. So I mentioned communications does approve these requests for communities. What else do we do? So there are some things where we're hands-on, and there are some things where we're not hands-on. We do best practices. We provide FAQs. We have guides for our admins. We have a community called AMER 101. Now it's Viva Engage 101, but that's where we talk about the platform itself. People go there because they want to know, can I do this in Viva Engage? And that's where we pin the FAQ and the community admin guide and things like that. We also do lunch and learns once a month and go deeper than just the basics, how to do polls, asking questions, embedding feeds into a SharePoint page, how to submit via Outlook. Every Viva Engage community has an email address associated with it. And you can submit content via Outlook. So those little things like that we do with our lunch and learns. We also lead by example. So when we use the platform, we're using it, we're asking questions, we're tagging other people. So we're trying to be those engagers and catalysts that Jim had mentioned earlier. Another thing I did that I'll encourage you that some of you that are so early in your journey, I was able to create a 5-minute video, and this is so easy. If you have a video platform that allows you to do a screen capture and also allows you to capture your microphone, I just went in and showed the home feed, talked about what makes up that home feed, how you can join communities, how you can follow people, how you can make a post, share it, comment. I did all that in 5 minutes, and I called the video Learning Viva Engage in 5 minutes. And so people that are new to that, because there are people that don't know it and need to learn it. But with a title like that, knowing, well, 5 minutes, I could be up and productive, that was so easy. And it's just a bare bones video, but just it gets people up to speed very quickly. So I'd encourage you to create something like that if you haven't. So what don't we do? So there are a couple things we don't do. We do not post on behalf of leaders. I was either Mark or Darnell made a remark about sometimes they do it on their behalf as you can submit on their behalf, but it looks like the leader has done that. What we do is we will sometimes give them copy that they can then copy and paste, but we do not post on their behalf. We want them to go in and look at the content that they're posting and react to that content. The other thing we do is we don't review or repost, and that's something that's also been talked about earlier today. We don't monitor the platform. There's just too much. It is a self-monitor, self-governed platform, if you will. I do subscribe to certain channels. We have one called All Lab. You probably have one called All Company. But I do scan that information, and if I see something that someone needs to that should watch, I'll forward them the link to it and have them watch it. We do have guidelines. Probably that most of the people on this call work for a company that has a code of conduct. a standard document that is the code of conduct. And that's like overarching. So that's one of the things we say you have to do is you need to follow the code of conduct. And that covers a lot of bases. We also tell people to treat each other with respect, even if you disagree. We ask them to stay on topic. We're trying to foster culture of exclusivity where everyone feels welcome on the platform. We've only had to update our guidelines once. And that was when someone put a GoFundMe out there because they were having some financial struggles, and we knew that could grow in a direction we didn't want to go. And so we did update our guidelines to say you can't do a promotion, you can't promote personal fundraisers or promote a personal business. But the key is we want to make it a safe place for people to feel vulnerable, feel heard, knowing that they could discuss things that may not be popular, maybe controversial, but if they're following the guidelines, that's okay. That's okay. You're allowed to say you don't agree with something. You're allowed to say we should go in some other direction. But as long as you're respectful about it, you're on topic, you're not violating code of conduct, it's fine. Anyone can report it. We've already talked about that today too. There's when you click on the three dots next to the conversation, there's a button to report the conversation. We've had Viva Engage for 2.5 years. And I think we've had maybe 4 conversations that were reported. A couple where I reached out to the person and said, hey, some people are interpreting what you're saying as this. And they were like, oh, I didn't realize that. It's not what I meant. And they actually went back and reworded it. Another person took it down. There's only 2, I think, that we had to escalate to HR and take it further. But it wasn't Mark, it was the other girl that was on the call, mentioned that, your face is next to it, and your name's next to it. So people are going to be a little careful about what they post. This is where I want to change gears here and talk about leadership adoption, because I want to talk about the impact that it's had. So I've gone out and met with each of the leaders to talk to them one-on-one to get them to get on the platform. The one thing that I do is talk about our values. We have 5 core values, and you can see them on the screen here. And each one's broken up into further bullets. And for collaboration, you look at those bullets and ask yourself, okay, does Viva Engage touch on these? Communicate, share resources. Yes. Get interdisciplinary teams to come together. Yes. Diverse talent, solve problems. Yes. Maintain an environment where everyone can be heard. Yes. I mean, this directly relates to one of our core values. So that's a big piece that I take to them. I also, tell them about, this is a platform where staff will feel included, feel connected, and feel invested. So showing them how it supports our values was a big deal. The other thing is it can help us really bring together our hybrid and our remote workforce, which is a huge focus for us now, because we're going through a little shift where we thought, oh, we're going to go remote, everyone's going to be remote, and now it's like, maybe not so much. And that actually caused a lot of opinions, because we actually had to change our policy, I guess I should say our stance, that we're not going to, a lot of our new postings now for new employees, there's not as much remote. They're trying to get more hybrid people in there. And that caused a lot of conversation on AMER. The best thing is nobody did anything that violated our guidelines. It was the most active comment for the entire year, for the last 12 months. That there was an individual post that was all about that. And it was great because everyone, as much as you could say they didn't like it, there were even people that moved because of they were allowed to, and now there's fear that they have to be told to come back. I mean, there was a lot of emotion around it, but nobody violated the guidelines. Everyone stayed on topic, which was great. So what are some results that we've seen for this that I can tie back to this? And I was able to use a combination of what I can get from Swoop and what I get from another survey. So every year we survey our employees, we call it the workplace survey, and we ask them questions about things that range from safety to, do you feel that you have growth opportunities working here, to do you have what you need to be successful? And what I'm sharing here are 3 questions. And when we ask these questions, you rank it on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 is no, I don't agree with that at all, and 5 is yeah, I really agree with it. So these 2 questions: leadership cares about the welfare of staff, I feel I belong here, and I feel connected to my colleagues. The organizations that scored the highest with these questions were organizations where the leader was using a private community to engage their staff. And that's huge. This is the proof in the pudding to show that when leaders embrace that platform, it can have a huge impact. And so this was a biggie for us. This isn't the only place where they made a difference. This next slide, I took with the help of Swoop. Thank you. I took every employee and put them into two groups. One is you work for an organization where your leader is using Viva Engage to communicate with you in a private community, or you're not. Those are the two groups. If you're working at an organization that leadership is engaged on the platform, or you're not. And looking at these results were the organizations where the leader had adopted the platform, 75% of all the people that are in that group had adopted the platform and were active on the platform. And the other group, it was like 35%. So getting your leaders on board is hugely important to show that it's a safe place, to show that they're listening, to show that they care. So there's got to be a big push to get them on, because you will see the results when you do that. I've got a couple of slides about, what are your leaders saying, Tim? I mean, it runs the gamut. This particular one is a leader talking about PRISM. PRISM is an employee resource group that we have that is for our LGBTQ community. And this leader was using the platform to demonstrate commitment to diversity and inclusion. This next one has nothing to do with work. It just, hey, I got out and went to one of the national parks over the weekend. I got up and saw sunrise. It was awesome. I mean, so you've got a kind of gamut of what you're seeing here. This last one here was about someone saying to somebody else, one of you saying, you are making an impact. Thank you for sharing your story. You are making an impact. And the feeling that employee gets when a leader knows that they're listening, this is also, it's a form of public recognition. It's also used to motivate others. So this is, it doesn't matter what they say sometimes. It's the fact that they're listening. It really pays big dividends. And when I do meet with the leadership, I do use that 1, 2, 3 approach that Jim had talked about. For every post, two replies, three reactions. That is, they look at that and go, "Oh, you're not asking for a whole lot." So no, I'm not. I'm asking when I start off saying, "Give me 5 minutes a week. If you can get on that platform 5 minutes a week and do the 1, 2, 3, that's all I'm asking." So it isn't a big ask to get them on board. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll turn over to questions in a second, though. But for those of you that are about to roll it out, this was my approach I took, and this is my keys to success: is start off with a campaign that appeals to everybody, and your history is one that you can do. That's what we did. Make it a safe place for people to speak freely, and yeah, we do monitor some conversations. There was one about benefits last week. I just sent it to our benefits manager. All I said is, you might want to watch this, to keep an eye on it. You may want to jump in if they say something's not correct. You can correct them, but do what you can to make it a safe place where people can say what they say. If they're following the guidelines, everything's fine. And then getting your leaders on board is key. With the metrics that I showed, I mean, it's really moving the needle on helping people feel connected, feeling like their leadership cares about them. So it's a powerful platform. Getting the leaders on board is, I couldn't stress enough. I know I talked a mile a minute. I went really fast, but I will stop here and see if there's questions. And I'm going to see if I get back to that. I wasn't able to watch the comments while I did this. So Coco or someone, if you can tell me if there's things in the chat portion, I'd be happy to answer those too.
So we do have a couple of questions, and Tim, actually somebody asked about the workplace survey that I saw in chat. So the workplace survey, is it on Viva Engage? Isn't it a separate?
It's a separate. It's we engage a third party to actually issue that each year, and they know it's coming. We tell them, watch for an email from this email address, and we give them like 3 weeks to answer it. But it's not built into Viva Engage.
Yeah, cool. So a couple of questions, again, lots of happening in the chat. So Albert again's asked, you mentioned bringing on tech communities. Our tech guys tend to gravitate to teams, and for that by default, as do other communities of practice. So how do you navigate teams versus Viva Engage? Do you have that?
Yep. Yeah, we do. And we've got it published so we can point people to say, here's a link that explains our approach to it. But Teams is great for project-oriented type work. And it's also, we also put a number on it. It's great for what we pulled out the number 50. I don't know where they came to that, but it's good for a group of 50 people or less. But if you want to collaborate and find solutions, you want to reach beyond your team. You want to reach across the whole enterprise. And so you're going to limit yourself if you're going to be using team, if what you want to do is to collaborate and find solutions that are innovative. Teams is perfect for a team that has a start and a finish or a certain scope that they're working in, and there's a document repository for this to share that kind of stuff. But we really tell them that it is a silo when you work in a team, and sometimes that's okay. But if you're looking for innovation across the company, you want to use Viva Engage.
Yeah, there's another question on the Q&A, and it says, which Viva Engage community do you primarily use when you post as the company, and have you created an official company community, or do you use the default all company community?
We use the default all company. We call it all lab because you can change it to call it whatever you want. You cannot join it. You cannot leave it. Everyone is automatically in it, and that is the one that we use for posting announcements. It's more of an announcement type tool. But we've got about 85 different communities, and I try, if it's an announcement for everyone needs to see, that's where I'll post it. There was one that I did. So if you guys want a post that say which one's going to go viral, here's one that I'll tell you, because I did it today, and I wish I did it in all community. My question was, have you met a celebrity? Tell us about it and share a pic if you got one. I mean, that's an easy one. That's really easy. And my failure was we have a community called The Lighter Side, where we just kind of share jokes and cartoons and stuff, kind of funner stuff. But I mean, if you want to get people to jump on there, I mean, you've got a big company, chances are you've got someone who's met a celebrity that wants to share a story. Better yet, if they got a pic. So I probably should put that in the all lab community.
I love
Excellent.
that.
Gemma, do you want to continue with the questions?
Yeah, I can have a look. So, Sunny, I see that you've asked a question, which communities in Viva Engage did your organisation start off with? I know that was actually in Tim's presentation, but do you want to go over it quickly again, Tim? Because I do think this is useful for people on that early journey of Viva Engage.
Yeah, we started off with, and I think I didn't mention this, so this might be a good time to mention this, is that when I met with leaders, there was a lot of resources already available from Microsoft and from Swoop. So don't think you need to do this on your own and create it from scratch. Both those companies have great resources for rolling out Viva Engage. And it's possible I think that's where I found, which one should we start with? And like I said, we had pets and sports fans, book lovers. I'm a huge music fan, so I created one called the Music Room. So there's some of it's just brainstorming with your team, what we think is have mass appeal. But I'm fairly certain it was probably some resources I got either from Swoop or from Microsoft that said these are some common communities that you want to start with.
And I am actually on the AMER Viva Engage Festival today. I actually saw a comment, which I made a note of it because I quite liked it, is that those social groups, so that maybe not so much business focused, but they really are the social glue of the networks, which I really liked. And I think when you're trying to show to leaders, senior leaders, the true value of Viva Engage and these social groups where it does bring like-minded people together, it is that social glue, which I thought was quite nice. So I made a comment of that. Tim, I know there are a few more questions in the Q&A. I just wondered if you've got some time to go in. Again, Tim is open for connections. That's correct, isn't it, Tim? We're just offering everyone's LinkedIn profiles here today.
Okay. Yeah, the one about business value versus personal value. One of the things that I struggle with is to prove what an engaged employee does for the organization. I mean, we work in communications. I work in communications, and everything is about employee engagement. There are a lot of different things that will make an employee feel more engaged. I mean, it's not just how well they're communicated to, but do they feel valued, and do they feel heard from leadership and from others? Do they feel like they're making a difference? All those things go into it. So what I'm able to use with Swoop is helping me figure out how engaged they are. I have not been able to tie that to say we have now had a new scientific discovery because of it. You know, that's what we do. We do scientific discoveries, we do research. But that probably should be my next step, is to find out, you know, and that's going to take a little more digging. How did this come about? How did this conversation come about? It's going to be someone volunteering saying, I got this idea because of something that started on Viva Engage. I mean, that would be killer if I could get that. But right now it's more about, are they engaged? Yes, they're engaged. And here's the numbers to show it. But the impact it's made to our research, I can't quantify that yet. If somebody else is on the call that can, I'd love to open up the mic and ask somebody else to, because I'm not the only expert in here. There's 99 or 150 other people on this call that I know that are experts too. So if anyone else wants to answer that question, that's a big one.
Anyone? Maybe reach out to Tim afterwards.
All right. Well, I wanted the answer to benefit everybody else on the call. So I'm scrolling through some other questions here. Have you added Viva Engage conversations to your intranet? We do have a lot of websites that embed the Viva Engage web part. And so, matter of fact, our homepage has it at the bottom. And our homepage, our intranet homepage, is not really customized a whole lot except for our Viva Engage feed. It pulls in their feed, that's their customized feed. So whatever, what you see and I see could be two different things for that part. But yes, we do use that web part quite a bit. There's a couple different ways to show it. There's different layouts, if you will. Some are better than others. But the ones that show the whole thread and everything on there, what I recommend, and we do use that.
Yeah. And that's a great thing, I think, when you're leveraging Microsoft products as well, is that integration. So you can add Viva Engage and web parts into SharePoint Online intranets.